Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one
quarter
too.
pounder with cheese in France, Mickey? What? Boy, ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice that my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
Hey everyone, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm yours, Dave.
And I'm having a sugar comatose reaction thingy.
That's John.
Yeah.
And I'm Sting.
You're freaking terrifying is what you want.
So I bought one of these old school Sting. I grew my hair long. We don't have the video anymore, so I got to explain this. I grew my hair long. I started growing it long in the early days of the pandemic. We were replacing the floor in our old house, and my hair was getting a little shaggy. And I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to grow my hair long. And then I hit last year, and it was getting decently length. And I said, you know what? I'm going to let it go for one more year, and I'm going to be Sting for Halloween.
And it worked.
1997 Sting. So I got one of these old school Sting masks from 1997, and I bought a t-shirt, and then I just wore slacks because you can't tell. And I was Sting for Halloween, and I have never been more proud of myself on Halloween.
So just that goes to show that if you ever cross JD, you have to think about protecting yourself for years. Because he plans on the long side.
Oh yeah, long term. I'm a long-term plan guy. Like, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got to paint your face." I don't like painting my face. I don't like the way paint feels on my face. So I got one of these old school masks, and like, I look like a serial killer wearing.
You do.
It's awesome. It's an unintended side effect, but it's dope.
Not only that, you'd have to shave off the goatee and the mustache, and
this is just being lazy. I mean, like, they'll be gone soon.
Oh, okay.
When the wife says, "Get rid of this," and it happens.
So eventually, you'll look like a 12-year-old again.
The wife
by
is
Friday.
in charge.
Oh, she's absolutely in charge. She makes more than I do. She's good looking. Like, I don't know why I'm here.
Well, I know why you're on the podcast.
Comic relief. I mean,
that's why I'm on the podcast and why I'm here. It's pretty much what I bring to every relationship.
Yes. So yesterday was Halloween, and as we're recording this, JD, obviously you had a good Halloween. As you felt good about your muscles.
Oh, I felt that's just how I look, man. I got good muscles.
All you had to do was paint that mask white, and you would have been Michael Myers. And
yeah, if it was fully white, and I noticed that too. Instead of like because again, I was 97 Sting, so it's kind of like a rip-off Crow look. So like it's got like these nice little like mascara streaks down it. But if it was all white, it would totally be Michael Myers. I was not intending that, and it did give off a Michael Myers vibe. It was unexpected, but pretty cool.
Well, it doesn't matter. Between the mask and your build, it's like, okay, I'm dead.
Well, thank you.
So anything else new this week?
My kid was a Ghostbuster again.
Yes, I saw the pictures.
That's fine though. I mean, like it's back in.
He's
big time.
Well, he was a Ghostbuster 2 years ago, and he still kind of fits into the costume. We just had to tuck the boots into the boot, or tuck the pants into the boots this year. Mm-hmm. So this is pretty much the farewell. And he got to do because we live in a small town now. The kids paraded around like the area by the school, so he wanted to be Spider-Man for that, and Ghostbusters for trick or treating. And because of the way the holiday fell this year, we were like, yeah, sure, whatever. So. He was happy with it.
That's cool. Neat. And now next year after the movie, you're going to have to buy him a new one because
his Nana made him this costume.
Ah,
wow! So that goes into the memory bin.
He's the only child. He's the only child of an only child. So he's special.
Yeah, just like his dad.
Yeah.
How about you, John? Anything new and exciting and wonderful?
Nothing I'm gonna talk about yet.
So hold on, I'm a toot John's horn here for a second. John showed us his house for Halloween. This dude had 5 buckets of candy to be laid out in front of us, including a bucket for full-size candy bars. And it being John O'Grady, it was like perfectly organized with a note above each one, differentiating which was in which bucket and whom should take which candy. So it was the most. I saw that, I went, that is so John O'Grady. It's awesome. But if one were to live in Amish country, one would need to visit the O'Grady home on Halloween because it looked pretty dope.
I had music coming out. Like I hooked up one of my Alexas to the upstairs, and I put one of my Unst Angle speakers in there, and I put it on high, and I was doing spooky haunted house music the whole night. And like, it's still a small town here, so we don't have people parade around. Well, we don't have the kids parade around. What we do is all of the parents go out onto the street, and we share glasses of wine while the kids are coming by. So you used to have somebody up the street that would, like, here's some candy for the kids, and here's a beer for the dad.
Nice.
Next year, I think I'm gonna have another bin, and that's just gonna have those little sample size things of all the different alcohols. I'll let the parents have a little something. But I got a lot of kudos for it, so I'm probably gonna have to do it again next year. Although I've got more ideas of how to make it spookier.
Cool. Impressive. It was very impressive.
It's funny because I live on one of the busiest streets in Northeast Philly. So like, and there's only houses on the street on my block. So like, kids do not come here. Like, and it's been like that since ever we moved in. So, and it's funny because then I used to take my kids. It made it easier to take my kids out for Halloween. But I mean, my youngest is 19, so.
So he don't want to do it. Yeah.
He don't want to do it. No, he's just like, go, you're going to the store, see if there's candies on sale.
So you get to a point where you're too cool for Halloween. In college, it's fun for a different reason, but then you become like an adult, and then you get kids, and then it's like you have an excuse to be stupid on Halloween.
Well, no, once you have kids, it's like you get the costume. It's like, I've got a bag too. You might as well just put something in. It's like,
this was our first Halloween, like trick or treating with another family. Because like my kid's in kindergarten now, so he has like a best friend that lives down the street from us.
Yeah,
so it was like egos were clashing. Like it was like the collecting of the candy was serious business, and they were getting like into it. Like it was intense, man. 5-year-olds, it's hard, man. It's hard to be 5.
I'll never forget my daughter's best friend, or one of her best friends, in grade school, and I was shocked. Like we had met her parents a couple times, but like the first year they wanted to go trick or treating together, her parents just dropped her off. It's like, okay, have fun.
Peace.
Boy.
Yeah, she was a good kid, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was just like, wow, like you're trusting me.
That's a tad presumptuous too.
Yes,
hey,
you're I play an adult on TV, but I'm not so sure you want me with your kid. Oh man.
Kind of funny how the geeks and the nerds are always the ones that try to be more responsible in society.
Because we're geeks. Like we've always had this.
But my youngest granddaughter, whose birthday was actually on the 10th, but we finally celebrated it Saturday. So that was fun. And they had their costumes on, my granddaughters. The twins were cats and the baby was a pumpkin.
Oh,
how old are the twins now?
3.
Okay, so next year's when they're going to start, like, this is what I want to be,
Well, yeah, I mean, they wanted to be cats.
Oh, they wanted to be cats? Okay, that's pretty cool then. This 3, because I was thinking about 3 was when Andy started deciding what he wanted to really be for Halloween.
Yeah, no, they wanted to be, and are you sure? And I like would throw ideas out. Nope, they want to be cats. So
when they dressed up like in my day, my parents dressed one of my brothers up as Aunt Jemima at one point. Yeah, I know, it does not age well. So
I just remember those plastic costumes.
Early 70s, like
with the plastic masks and then
those things are scary looking as the mask I was wearing.
And then it's like oh, I want to be Batman, but there's a picture of Batman on my no, that's not what Batman.
I know.
Like.
Yeah.
I'll say this: the costumes you buy at the store are way better today than they were 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like they actually resemble it. Because I always felt bad for the kids who it was clear. I was like, well, your parents didn't have time to put together a costume for you. They bought you the one at the store. But now you buy one like Andy. We bought one for Andy at the store. It looks just like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like there's no shame in this one. It's like, well,
no,
we couldn't do better than this. Here you go, kid.
you want to dress up as a monster, like some of the, I even over a decade ago, I would go to the Halloween store the day after Halloween and get everything at a discount for a LARP that a friend of mine used to run, because the ogre costumes and everything, that the masks are so elaborate and they're polyurethane,
Yeah.
and just they're really detailed and yeah, it's scary as hell.
It's really scary as hell. My wife bought the thing for Andy, this costume for Andy at like Costco or something like that. It was like $5, and then the same costume was for sale at Halloween Express for like $25. I'm like, that's how these places manage to stay open for only 1 quarter a year.
Yeah.
And stay profitable.
Yeah. I'll never forget. Like, I don't remember. I mean, probably 12. So I don't know if I was too old to trick or treat or not, but I didn't trick or treat, but I dressed up, and I remember that was like one of the first times I can remember where it was like, oh, I don't have to, I can do my own costume. And I was Freddy Krueger. And like, I could buy a rubber Freddy Krueger mask, and I get the glove and just put on a green and red sweater. And I was like, and the mask came with a fedora, and it's like, oh, there you go. Perfect. Like,
I remember same year when I was 12, I bought a Hannibal Lecter mask, because that was when that was kind of a thing, and just wore sweats. And that was the year of the great egg fight in my neighborhood. Where everyone was seriously, the neighborhood kids divided into 2 teams, and we decided wherever you see each other, it was like a snowball fight, but with eggs. It was awesome.
And sticky.
Sticky.
And then people were caught in the crossfire, and it was ugly. It was a great story, though.
I know we're way off track, but at some point,
Halloween, dude. Yeah,
I know. But at some point, remind me to tell you how I started an actual riot where the cops had to come, and there were like hundreds of people and smoke bombs and everything.
That was last weekend, right?
No. Yeah.
Coming this week.
This is in college. I started a riot.
And he's proud of it.
If I started a riot, I would never stop talking shit about that.
It is the most interesting thing I've ever done. It was totally unintentional, and it's the first time and the only time I've ever actually experienced mob mentality, and it's scary as hell. And it took the police to stop it.
Hey, bud, I'm working.
I just came to say hi.
Hi. You have no clothes on. Go get changed for bed. I know. Good night, buddy. Sorry.
And then the other thing I did this weekend that I wanted to mention on the podcast, because this is a superhero podcast, I saw Let There Be Carnage.
Oh, how was it?
Oh dear, he's clammed up.
That dramatic pause doesn't do much.
It was. Oh my god! So, full disclosure, I've seen scenes from the first one, but I've never actually sat down and watched the whole thing because
you couldn't, or
because I couldn't get past the buddy cop relationship between Venom and Eddie Brock, because like that's not their relationship in the comics.
Stupid, but yes,
yeah.
And it was a lot of that in the movie. Like there was a lot of humor, and it was around their relationship. And I'm like, this does like Lethal Protector. No, like I'm supposed to be scared of him, not laughing at his antics. And it's just like, oh God. But yeah, but when you have a woman sitting next to you holding your hand, you let some stuff slide.
Nice.
So.
I heard there's a nice little post-credit sequence, though.
Yeah, we didn't stay for it, but I saw that online. We talked about it on the show.
We did. That's why I was tying it back in.
Yeah. No, it was funny because, and the thing is, originally we were going to go see the James Bond movie, right? Because that's newer or whatever, but that didn't start till 9. This started at 7:20, and we were ready to go see the movie then. And it was like, okay. I'll say this, for what the movie was, it was good. For what they were trying to do. But as a Venom Carnage movie, no, it was horrible.
It's not the Venom that you want to see brought into the MCU, basically.
Exactly. Right? Yes, and now he's in the MCU, so we don't have much of an option.
So we're getting that whether we want it or not.
I kind of wonder.
I'm sorry. I heard a fan theory that states that
we spend a lot of time on these fan theories.
I know, but this is one of the more interesting ones. Yeah. That Venom had just said he was going to show Eddie. From the was it they have the link, the symbiotes have that huge link brain, right? The hive mind. And that when everything turned and Eddie found himself in another universe. It wasn't really Eddie being in another universe. It was the symbiote. It was Venom showing him the Venom in that universe, and that we're not actually going to see this Eddie Brock in that universe.
I don't know. I think I think Sony is chomping at the bit to do a Sinister Six, and this is their way to get Venom into it. And I think that's what they want.
I wonder if Sony had that in any of their contracts in order to keep the Spider-Man stuff. Like, please do our Sinister Six thing. We can't get it off the ground.
So Sony's got that thing in perpetuity. Sony will have that until they don't want it anymore, and they have an option on it. As long as there's a Spider-Man movie in production, it's theirs. Them and Fox bailed Marvel out of bankruptcy, so they can have that. And Fox was now absorbed into the collective, so they still kind of owe Sony.
That is funny how they bailed them up, but nope.
Then they eventually absorbed them. It is weird like that.
Marvel didn't absorb them; Disney did, because
Marvel was absorbed by Disney, the collective, the hive mind, the symbiote, if you will.
Eventually, Disney will own everything.
It's going to be the United States of America presented by Disney.
And I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of talk, but some people liked, what's his name? Carnage, Cletus Cassidy. Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson. And I was just like, I didn't feel he was right for the part.
Really? I thought the casting was pretty good.
I mean, again, I guess for the movie they were telling it. Okay. There are definitely one-liners. It feels like an early 2000s superhero movie. The way that it's cut, the way that the one-liners are in there, and it's just like,
well, it's a buddy cop. I mean,
yeah, but we expect so much more from these movies today, and it was
you shouldn't from a Sony one. They haven't.
It's true.
Have you seen the one we're going to be talking about later?
Yeah. Speaking of talking about later,
but so I don't know. I will say this: I was completely shocked. I mean, it was a Saturday night, but it's still a movie that's been in the theater for over a month now, right? Couple months.
Yeah.
And it was crowded. I mean, it was a basically sold out theater. And I'm like, I was shocked. I'm like, I mean, granted, it wasn't in one of the bigger theaters, but still.
Yeah. That's even more impressive then.
I mean, to be honest, I was kind of hoping the theater would be empty. But anyway, I digress. So, yeah.
That's madness.
I don't know.
Madness, I tell you.
I would say if you haven't seen it, wait for DVD, or I'm sorry, streaming. DVD. My God, I'm old. So let's move on then. Let's move on to our favorite topic, guys: social media madness.
Blah.
This is the end. My only friend. The end.
So we talked about Angry Batman and how...
Is there any other kind? No.
Well...
The answer.
This is the angriest Batman we've seen. How's that? Is that better?
Fair.
And... Oh, shoot. Sorry. It's making me log into Twitter.
I got it open. Yeah, I can read it if you want.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Wolver Steve at Wolver Steve, which I like your name, by the way, dude, says, works for me. I think this at the Batman is going to be incredible. And there's a bat emoji at the end.
Yes. So I don't know. I mean, most people are so far who've seen it are excited about it. So, I mean, even people who don't easily get excited about this stuff anymore are like, it looks good. Some are like, it kind of feels like Nolan, but angrier.
It does feel angrier than Nolan. I don't know if that's a bad thing necessarily. I'm still more concerned with the Riddler than I am with Batman.
Well, exactly. But it's the kind of the take they want to do on the Riddler.
Oh yeah, no, it is. There's no argument.
So I'm the only one of us that's really not excited about this, I guess.
You are the only one. You were alone on O'Grady Island.
You usually am. And I still get voted off somehow. I don't know why.
O'Grady Island. I have to write that down. That's got a ring to it, actually.
Oh my God.
It's got a good ring to it.
You know, there in Ireland, there is an O'Grady Castle and O'Grady Lake, and you know.
So all right, so moving on. We did talk about, we did review Dune last week, the newest movie from Warner Brothers, and we had some feedback on this. First, we'll start with Charlton Hero said, the movie was fine. The ending felt very truncated, but understandable as they were adapting half the book. for Dune as a property as a whole, it was about as good as a job you could do to present a very dense franchise to the general public and make it coherent.
Yeah, that's pretty much a summary of our show last week.
Yeah. And then Timothy Jones, gotta include Tim. I watched the original movie when it came out. It was okay, although I've heard that the current movie is good. I just might check it out. For the record, I'm not ashamed to say I'm afraid of giant sphincter sandworms.
And especially giant sandworms in your sphincter.
Hey, let's not bring Stephen King into this, okay?
And then he followed it.
That is very King, but yeah, you're right about that.
And then he followed it up with, it would be cool if the sphincter worm would cough up string and sting, and he plays a few bars of synchronicity.
This is becoming very elaborate.
Sting? Oh wait, wrong Sting.
Not that Sting.
You know that my Sting actually owns the rights to the name and has to have a deal worked out with Gordon Sting.
Really?
He was smart enough. He was smart enough to trademark the name.
Wow. So don't forget Sour Grapes available in finer newspapers across the country.
And sphincters.
Oh my god.
And then
sorry, Tim, you set me up on that one.
And then So Wizard Podcast said tweeted a
I don't get it.
Meme at us. I don't get it either. It says POV, you called Dune boring. I don't and it's the cast laughing. I don't know. I guess that's the director in the middle.
I mean, I thought we liked it. That's not Dennis Villeneuve, is it?
I'm not sure. Well, I mean, but
did we call it boring?
I said it was a little boring.
He said it's boring.
But I didn't trash it. I just said it was, it was boring at parts.
Don't you understand in geek culture, any negative comment whatsoever, even a moderate comment is considered negative. It's like,
and then this one here, Memphis Neat. At Hey DD Sweets, tweet it at us. That alone just got you all a new fan. Now, my question is, was it our review of Dune, or was it the clip that I used?
Oh no, it's the clip. It's the clip.
Okay, John. Just so you know, because I know you don't follow us on social media, and you don't listen to the show after we record it.
That's why my opinion is so fresh.
When we were coming back from commercial, and you said, "Let me insert something here," and JD went off and said, "Is that a pickup line?" That's the clip, and that had me cracking up. And yes,
this is why it's better that John doesn't listen to the show. Hey, I got a fan. That was funny. That was good material. I'm glad we used it on the show.
It was.
I was on a roll.
A butted roll.
What's that, John?
I said I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Is that another pickup line?
I'm just gonna shut the hell up now because
you can't. All right, and then finally we talked about the Hellraiser reboot.
Hellraiser, Motorhead for you.
Which had first we had. And I used a GIF from the old franchise, obviously, when I tweeted it out. And we had Steelers 4-3 because I can't read the first word. It's at ST33 Spike.
Dude, I don't have that. Is it on both?
It's. I had sent it in a separate email. It's up higher.
Oh, okay, I missed it.
Who basically said, "Love it. Representation matters, even in horror movies and their villains." And then Timothy Jones chimed in again and said, "Is his head an actual pincushion or just pins growing out of his head?"
That is such a Tim Jones question.
To which D Square replied, "I don't see the point." ...
God! God!
Well played. Yeah.
I like that.
Nice.
Thank you, John.
Very prickly answer.
So
I can play that game too.
And then
terrible.
That's why we got the fans for the dad jokes. All right, and then Gorilla Brain Podcast said, "It's a double-edged sword. Any opinion on this? Because if you say you like it, the idea, the horror community shuns you. If you don't like the idea, you're a sexist. Also, I lost all respect for the Hellraiser franchise after 3, so it's whatever to me."
I actually think that's fair. I mean, like, that is like Schrodinger. It's like it is a catch-22, right? because both assumptions get you in trouble. It's true. It's why you just shouldn't express any opinions ever. But
oh wait, then what are we doing?
I know, getting ourselves in trouble week after week.
Yeah.
But he's also not wrong about Hellraiser. Hellraiser 2 kind of sucks. Hellraiser 3 is stupid fun. It's very, very, very stupid, but fun. But yeah, after that, it's all downhill.
There were a couple of movies in there that weren't even Hellraiser movies. They were other movies that they shoehorned the box into in order to just have a Hellraiser movie out.
I think I saw. Was that Harvey Weinstein making that? Throw Pinhead in there. Like, was he doing that? I think so.
I don't know if he had anything to do with those. I'd have to look it up. I just saw reviews of them by the Cinema Snob, and I went over some of the history of some of them, and it was interesting because they they were just really horrible movies that they just shoehorned Pinhead into, and they were direct to video release because
Clive Barker got paid.
Oh yeah. And it did go to space like all,
they did go
I was going to say,
monsters should go.
I'm pretty sure I saw the first two, and I believe it's the last one where they go to space, and I don't know what number that is.
I used to I liked the third one a lot when I was in high school because it had a really hot girl in it, and I was the perfect age that I would make time to see Hellraiser 3 because I was like, oh, she's so hot even when she turns into a monster. Like, yeah, that's why I thought it was fun and stupid. So, cinematic.
And then you marry someone who turns into a monster. Oh,
my wife is not a monster. She is a wonderful human being and a lovely person. That would never.
Does she listen to the show?
No.
Oh, okay, good.
No,
good.
My wife gets enough of my shit daily. She doesn't even listen to my shit.
It was Hellraiser Bloodline that was in space, and that was
Bloodline was in space. Yeah. That's one of those ones when clearly this was not supposed to be a Hellraiser movie. I think I remember that one, seeing the trailer, and all of a sudden Pinhead's there, and you're like, what? How's Pinhead here? And that's, how that.
Right. Exactly. So,
yeah. I think it was Inferno. I think Inferno was also one that was like not.
I'm pretty sure all of them after 3 are basically like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, here's the deal. What does it matter if Pinhead's a guy or a girl? He's a demon.
Sure.
It's a demon. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a Cenobite. Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's the whole thing. And it's just like, we've talked about it with the Ghostbusters reboot, where it's like, if you especially at the time, like if you didn't like it, you were sexist, and it's like, no, it's just a bad movie.
I wanted it to be a good movie because so many people I dislike on Twitter were railing against it from the get-go, and then it was like, oh no, it's not a good movie.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be good because again, it had 4 of the funniest women in comedy in it, and it was just like, why is this so bad? It's just corporate schlock.
1941 was written by Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale, the guys who give us Back to the Future. It was directed by Steven Spielberg. It starred John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, and it sucked.
1941. I thought that was it. Was I thought that was kind of funny though.
No, it's terrible.
It's so.
Compare it to everything else that those guys did. It doesn't measure up.
It's
so.
No one
talks about it. Yeah.
It's so funny. Like, I just watched the movies that made us the Back to the Future episode.
Me too. That's why it was fresh in my head.
Exactly. And they talked about their first 2 movies were like flops. And then what was it? Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone. Used Cars is actually a pretty decent movie, though. I just don't think it found the right audience.
Yeah.
I like that movie. But yeah, 1941 is bad. But Romancing the Stone is a fun movie.
Yes. And then that's what got them to greenlight Back to the Future, which originally the time machine was going to be a refrigerator.
Yeah, good thing they made that. They changed their mind on that. Although they did eventually use that sequence with. Did you recognize the sequence with the? Yeah, John knows where I'm going with this. The refrigerator and the nucler explosion. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They lodged into a film where it made much more sense. Indiana Jones. I wish I was making that up.
We all do. We all do. We all wish Crystal Skull didn't exist. All right. Well, on that note,
I wish that was a good idea. The idea worked.
We're going to. If you want to know how you can follow us on social media and get more superhero speak and be part of Social Media Madness, here's our good friend D Squared to tell you more.
We have a 5-year-old visitor. You want to tell everybody hi for the show?
Enjoying the show? Want to be part of Social Media Madness? Make sure you are following superheroespeak.com, where you can find all of the show's social media links at the top of the page. While you're there, you can check out old episodes of the podcast as well as some other great content. Check the site often because we are posting some great comic reviews as well as comic book and movie news content every day. Make sure and follow us on Twitter @SuperheroSpeak. And while you're there, check out the rest of the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. You can follow them at @stars_geek. The Geek World All-Star Podcast Network include great programs such as the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Cult 45, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Search for #GWAllStars. You will not be disappointed. Now it's back to Dave and the boys on Superhero Speak.
No, I didn't tell them about your shot.
I tell them about my flu shot.
Well, they don't want to hear about your fun. Or how I had to hold you down while you kicked and screamed and told everyone you would never trust me again.
They can hear that.
They can hear that. That's because there's a microphone right there. I think you should go to bed, okay, buddy?
Okay.
Can I have a hug? I love you.
Aw.
Are you eating an egg before bed?
Yeah.
You weirdo. Go to bed.
He's got to get his protein.
That's my boy. Close the door. Good night, pal. He did. He had an absolute conniption fit when we went for flu shots. You thought he was a cow being led to slaughter. Close the door, you little troublemaker.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Don, and the fun never ends. On that note, and don't forget to check out the Omega Level Nerds podcast, available on YouTube and wherever podcasts are available. And on that note, we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
John, is there anything you want to insert this week?
No, I did throw a last minute. There was tomorrow they're going to release that new trailer for Morbius. So, and they had a teaser for it.
I'm trying to leave it lay. Trying not to steer into the skid. Trying to let it go.
But I'm trying to set you up.
I know. I cannot rely on old material. I need new material. I'm more than a one-trick pony here to entertain you. Actually, no, that's all I am.
I was going to say, hold on. How many times do you need to kill John?
As long as he keeps paying is the answer to that question. Well, I really like the sound.
Every time, basically. Every time.
I appreciate that. There's many murders in your future.
Well, speaking of one-trick ponies, I don't know. I don't get this. I really don't get it. Pixar's got a new movie coming out.
You don't get what Pixar has a new movie coming out?
Well, I'm sorry. First off, I had no idea they were making this. It feels like it came out of left field.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is the most bizarre concept to me. I don't know why. I can't wrap my head around the idea of making what looks like a serious Buzz Lightyear movie.
So did you see the Watcher in the background? This is another what if, right?
Oh my God.
This is the origin of the character the toy is based on.
The toy being in a time that was in the past of the original character.
The toy from a movie, we're getting a super meta story. This is like, what's the kid from St. Elsewhere looking into the globe at this point? Like,
or
the
Krampus.
And that's what, that's what I'm getting at. Like, is this something we needed? Like, does anyone care?
You ask that, but regardless of everything else, that trailer was more exciting than anything I've seen from DC lately.
Oh, I'm not going to disagree. Like,
I thought the trailer was.
The trailer
got me excited. The
trailer looks really good. It's crazy that Chris Evans is playing Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
In this, but yeah, it was also had me wondering. Remember we talked before? There was like a secret deal he had with Marvel that they weren't talking about. Like, I know this is Pixar; it's different, so it probably wasn't this. But it's made me go like, is this the movie he came back to Disney for? Not another Marvel movie? Because that's a scary thought.
It looks good. I'd go see it.
Yeah, I probably will see this. I'm morbidly curious.
That's better than not curious.
Did someone?
I broke my headphones.
I was about to say, did someone break their headphones?
I did.
Whoops.
Shit.
So here's a question: you're the guy in the show with the youngest child. Is this something your son would be excited to see?
I don't know. I haven't shown him the trailer. Honestly, he's kind of lukewarm to Toy Story. Doesn't dislike it, but it's not one of his jams. So I don't think this will do much for him because he's really into superhero stuff, right? So I don't know if I think he prefers Woody to Buzz Lightyear to begin with. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, I've been trying to figure out who the target audience is. Is it kids who grew up with the original? Now is it like 20 somethings to get them?
You mean 30 somethings, right? Like the original.
The original came out in 95.
Yeah.
Oh God.
We passed the 25th anniversary of Toy Story last year.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So I guess it's to appeal to 30 somethings, and then maybe they'll bring their kids to see it.
I think that's what it is. I think it's what a lot of these things are meant to do now, is meant to appeal to the older generation, so they drag their kids along kicking and screaming.
Yeah, I just don't see.
I don't either. I don't think this is their best idea.
Yeah, it feels like
Green Lantern. That's what it feels like to me.
It looks like it is a better. I don't know. It looks better than.
I didn't say it was going to be good.
Yeah,
or bad.
I mean,
Green Lantern sucked. That's the vibe I get off this.
Because it's like they already milked it for Toy Story for 4 movies.
But they can't make any more of those. They finished that. I mean, there's no way they can resuscitate that plot line for another go. So
they could.
Now they can make. Now they can start making money off of the franchise.
But that's what I was getting at. It feels like they were like, oh, you know what? We really can't do another one. So let's go off and do like a serious Buzz Lightyear movie, and then we'll do a serious Western with Woody. And
that's coming next. It's going to be like the Lone Ranger, where Woody dies and is resurrected by something.
Oh my God.
Well, you know,
we're saying this, but you know that's
as long as he got the Soul Stone, you know.
Potato. You're like John Wick with French fries.
Oh my God. But that's the whole thing. And when you're like saying, well, this is the story that toy is based on, you don't need Steve Allen.
It'd be great if they had Steve Allen. That'd be freaking impressive, man. He's been dead for like 30 years.
No,
Tim Allen.
You don't need Tim Allen to come back and do the voice. You can get someone like Chris Evans to come and do the voice. And the same thing, you don't need Tom Hanks to be the voice of Woody in the movie. You get Robert Downey Jr. to do it, you know, or something like that. You know, I'm throwing a name out there since they're both dead in Marvel. They can now do Pixar cartoons.
This is a terrible idea. It's probably going to make a lot of money, and I'm totally wrong about this, but I think it's a terrible idea nonetheless.
Well, it's a Pixar movie. Of course, it's going to make a lot of money. So, yeah.
Has there been a Pixar movie that hasn't made money, or that's been disappointing?
I don't know. I mean, like my only question would be, wasn't there that sea monster movie that was released directly to Disney Plus? Like it wasn't even like a premium. Yeah, end of last year. So like that obviously didn't make money because it's just based on subscriptions. And everyone who saw it's like, yeah, it's a Pixar movie. It follows the basic Pixar formula, you know?
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, I'm like, so I kind of half wonder, like, did they not do the premium access because they didn't think people were going to pay for it? You know, maybe they didn't have that confidence.
Oh, you mean the Good Dinosaur one?
Or no, not Good Dinosaur.
I don't even remember what you guys are talking about, to be honest.
It was took place in a like Italy or something, and they're two friends, but one of them is a sea monster.
That just came out though, right? One of them's a mermaid or merman.
Merman, yeah. When he comes on the land, he turns into a boy, and yeah, exactly.
Splash?
No. Oh my God.
No, that's Daryl Hannah. That's way. That's
sounds like Splash.
Now you're gonna make me go on the internet
and relive Splash. Tom Hanks. It all comes back.
Luca. It's called Luca.
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Right.
Okay.
But as far as Pixar movies that didn't make a lot, Soul only made $7 million.
Yeah, but that came out during the pandemic.
Exactly.
That's a bad example. That's a good movie.
And Onward made 103, but like that disappoints me because that was like one of the best movies I've seen.
That came out during the very early part of the pandemic, so they had some release, right? So, and I'm probably imagining they're including Disney.
That was one of the first movies that they put on Disney Plus right away.
Yes, well, my dumbass bought it on Amazon like 2 weeks beforehand.
Yes.
And paid like $30 because they didn't announce they were going to do that.
So right after that, there's The Good Dinosaur with 332 million, which was also a fairly good movie, but you know, and then A Bug's Life, which I would have put The Good Dinosaur above that one. and
Bugs
right
Life
above
is
that is
basically-
Cars 3.
Bugs Life is basically Seven Samurai.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Dave Foley.
Huh.
Yes, it is. So, all right, we spent enough on this.
I have no interest.
All right, now we're gonna talk about something that I hate it.
Porn.
What?
You know, now you're trying to instigate. Okay, it's like
so Masters of the Universe. They released the first half of it.
Dave, by the way, my kid is in the same boat as you.
Really?
He watched this Masters of the Universe Revelation, and he was digging because Michelle's texting me. He's like, he loves this. He absolutely loves this. And I thought she was watching the reboot. I didn't realize she was watching the Kevin Smith one. And then she goes, He-Man dies. I'm like, oh, you're watching that one. He was done.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want to watch this. He completely checked out. He does not want to put on. It bothered him to no extent that He-Man died.
Yes. So then you watch the trailer. You guys watched the trailer, right, for the second half?
I did, and let me tell you, I really hate trailers that just blow all of the good stuff. Like,
well, they had to kind of get some people back. So
I know, but they blew it. They
here's where I am with this. Okay, so when the show was being worked on, Kevin Smith kept coming out and saying it's the rumors about it being Tila-centric are wrong. It's all about He-Man, blah, blah, blah. Again, like I said, the promotional material made it look like it was all about He-Man. And then, of course, they killed He-Man in the first episode. Spoiler alert. And then they bring him back, right? Okay, fine. But when all this controversy was going on, Kevin Smith, started going oh, well, if you don't like it, then you're just sexist, and started doubling down on that kind of speak and whatnot. And then this trailer comes out, and it's all He-Man again. And it's like, now my mind's in one of two places. Either this was the plan all along, and they're trying to bring back those people they lost that got upset because they killed He-Man, but it makes me wonder, well, then why did Kevin Smith double down about, when he was like, oh, it's called Masters of the Universe, or two, maybe He-Man just comes back at the very end, but they're showing all the He-Man clips again to suck people to come back and watch it.
They can't make they can't make an animated show that fast.
No, but that's what I'm saying. So these clips just in the final episode when he does his triumphant return, or is he throughout the whole second half?
We won't know until we watch the show.
Yeah.
If I'm a betting man, he comes back at the end of the first episode of this comeback.
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks like that. It looks like they're going to spend a couple of episodes bringing him back, and
it could be.
But they blew all of the good parts of that. So
I would hate to tell you that Kevin Smith is being over the top, but at the same time, if you read some of the vitriol he gets online, it is from the, the 4chan crowd. And those are the voices that get amplified the loudest. Like we talked about Ghostbusters, because real criticism gets lost in with the incels or the loudest.
So you're talking 4chan and 8chan, basically.
Yeah. So you get any real criticism is lost to the loudest voices.
Right, which is what we talked about.
Yeah, so we're back to where we were a couple more.
Right, which was what I had actual criticism, not I just hate it because it's Tila. But, and again, I said I also would love the idea, if you want to make a show where He-Man's gone and they have to pick up the pieces and they have to, go through eternity without him, and that's an awesome idea. Do it, right? But don't sell me one thing, then give me that, and then double down when people get upset. The best thing he probably could have done is ignore most of the criticism.
He's not capable of that.
I know.
It's just not. He has built his entire brand on being very interactive with his fan base. So it's not within his nature to be like Christopher Nolan and just be like, you peons don't matter to me. I am film god. That's not.
That was a really good impression there.
Thank you. I've actually been in a room with him, so I've seen him do it.
Oh man.
So yeah, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I get why they wanted this surprise, right? And it got leaked, and they're trying to cover their ass because, oh no, it's this, because I think they believe as a writer, when you think you have something, you want to keep the integrity of your surprise, right? But then it kind of I do think that those reports did color some perspective, and I think this whole thing has been botched. This shouldn't have been 2 parts. It should have just released the whole thing, and Amazon just misplayed this.
Netflix.
Netflix, excuse me.
And that's the Netflix.
Blaming Amazon for everything. I'm sorry.
But that's also the Netflix thing. Like, they don't give you everything at once with these kinds of shows. They give you two pieces, and it's like.
But that's a problem sometimes.
And the whole idea is, well, we're just trying to. I understand it's a marketing thing. They want to keep you around till they release the second half, but you alienated so many people with this. Like, you should have just right away given us the second half once you saw how pissed off the fans were getting. But I also think there's this. I said it before. I think there's this idea, and I'm not saying Kevin Smith's behind it. I think Netflix is behind it, where it's like, oh, there's no such thing as bad press. Like,
I think
we
Netflix,
got people.
Well, look at the Dave Chappelle thing. I think Netflix absolutely 100% believes that. I think Netflix is totally like, all press is good press. Give us the more press, more of the press. You hate us? Yes, more. Like, I think that's totally Netflix.
But
I don't think that's Kevin Smith at all.
But the issue is that because he played along, he made himself look bad, I think, in the long run here.
I don't know. It depends on if you think it made him look bad. I mean, I think he's a filmmaker that believes in his stories, right? And then if you're someone who doesn't like Kevin Smith, you can just point to the Walrus movie and just be like, look, Kevin Smith has lost it.
Walrus.
I forget the name. Tusk. And it's
Tusk.
like,
Yep, that's it.
Kevin Smith isn't Kevin Smith anymore. I haven't seen the show because, quite frankly, now that Andy doesn't want to watch it, he's done. Like, he will not watch part 2. We watched the other He-Man. He loved that one.
Cool.
That one wasn't bad. Even I took a look through that one.
See, I told you.
You're right, Dave. You're 100% right. Like, tip my cap to you, or my headband to you on that one. And Andy loved that He-Man, but it's more geared for him, right?
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
That one was more.
It's like Teen Titans Go for He-Man.
Very much, very much. No, it's not quite as irreverent as Go.
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
geared for kids.
Yeah.
Where that one is more geared for adults. And like, I get what they were going for. I just don't know if they played their cards right. Like, because I think our generation is still scarred by Optimus Prime.
Yes.
God. Yeah.
We don't do well with this kind of stuff.
Don't kill our heroes.
No. Especially this has been my big rule about comics. Like, when we need to spike comic sales, we're just going to kill somebody else, and then we'll bring them back at some point. It doesn't matter. And then, like, you get jaded. Like, I don't want to read much Marvel anymore. I'm just going to do the Spider-Man thing again because I'm so jaded by them, because that's just what they do over and over and over again. So that's what this feels like to me.
Sometimes they don't kill a character. Sometimes the character gives up being the hero and someone else takes over.
Nice segue.
See what I did for you there, Dave?
So, speaking of comics and Marvel, recently Danny Rand in the comics gave up being Iron Fist to save the universe, as these things always go.
Sure he did.
So now they're bringing in a new Iron Fist, a new miniseries. There will be a new hero as Iron Fist, but they have not revealed his identity yet. The only artwork, obviously, he's wearing the mask, so you can't see who he is underneath. And it's I'm trying to find who's the writer on this.
Alyssa Wong,
and the artist is Michael. It's YG, so I'm not sure if there's a pronunciation to it.
Ying.
It's just Michael YG.
It's Michael Ying.
Ying, is that how it's pronounced?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
an Asian creative team on this.
Yes, and that's coming out early next year, 2022.
Art looks great.
Yeah, I mean,
it does. Yeah,
the art looks good. I mean, you can't really say anything.
That's all I got to go on. The art looks great.
Right, like they're not revealing much about the story. I'll say this as like knowing people that are creatives. Like the cool thing about this is it allows them to come in and tell a fresh story using the character. But now let's be honest, we all know that there's copyrighted material here and trademarks, and we know Danny Rand will eventually return to the mantle because that's how this always works.
I don't do you think because of the Netflix thing and the backlash that maybe they're going to move the character more towards an Asian?
I think it made him expendable, to be honest with you. I think the reaction, although it's very after the fact, like it's been like 5 years since then.
True.
But I do think it made the character expendable for it. Comics move very, very slow.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of comics. It takes a long time to do it.
Because nobody wants to see change.
Well, that and old CB Cebulski has got some stuff to apologize for. So I think this is all, legacy heroes are tough because sometimes they stick, right? And sometimes they miss really badly. Like Miles Morales is probably like the most successful and is also the most daring,
Yeah, but they also now have them side by side. Like
Yes.
Peter Parker's back and with Miles Morales. It's not
Yeah,
like
but it was also a different amount. It was a different universe when they first launched Miles.
well, oh yes, yes.
But
yes.
at the same, so he could do that. But at the same time, redoing a new Spider-Man is bold.
Right.
But this is this is a different situation. Like
It is a
this
different
situation is like the backlash was a lot of whitewashing and stuff, and that character comes from a different era,
from an exploitation era. Like,
Yeah.
and I don't know if there's enough accrued love for the Danny Rand character in general. So I think all of this makes him,
well, I mean, part of the problem is that the Danny Rand is is it the fish out of water story? Like,
yeah, it's Stranger in a Strange Land.
Stranger in a Strange Land. Yeah. Like that's the whole point of the character. And number one, it is a story that kind of only works in the short term because then, like, once he gets accepted and he gets the mantle, like that part of the story is over, and now he's just Iron Fist.
That's why the Iron Fist and Luke Cage story.
Exactly.
Because he could play off and he didn't have to be that.
I mean, like the idea of calling it whitewashing is just, to me, the stupidest thing in the world. Like, you don't get the character then. Like, you've not read the book.
No, but at the same time, it's white. It's not whitewashing. It's a white savior story.
Yes, that's
different. So the white savior story is we're in this problem. We need only someone we need someone special to come along and save us. Oh, it's this white guy. And again, I get it. No one creates a story and goes, well, I'm going to make a white guy to save everybody. It just becomes something that happens over and over and over and over again. It becomes a trope. So that's how tropes happen. And again, I like Danny Rand character too, but at the same time, like, I don't love him. Like, I'm not in love with Danny Rand. He's not my favorite character, but I also don't know if this is going to stick. Like, Captain Marvel worked, like turning Miss Marvel into Captain Marvel. That turned out to be a stroke of genius. That worked great. But not all these things work. Most of them, there's a lot more failures than their successes in doing these legacy characters. So I'm very curious to see what happens after this.
Yeah, because in this case, it's just the fact that the Netflix show and the bad writing on that just sort of catapulted that into the general consciousness. Yeah.
It makes
it sort of brought it to light to way more people than it has been, which is why it became a thing.
But it's also 5 years ago. So I mean, like, that story is like past. True.
But I'll give John this. There is a possibility of bringing this new character in if the comics does well, because again, they're just giving him a miniseries. It's not like it's an ongoing book. But if the miniseries sells well and he's popular enough, I could see Marvel reintroducing Iron Fist as this new character and totally acting like Danny Rand doesn't exist in the MCU.
No, I don't think. Oh, in the MCU, like in the cinematic universe.
Yes.
Possible, because we have this giant rift now with the Netflix shows.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's entirely possible. I think this something someone was tried about 5 years ago again with the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider character, right? We were going to go with the Latino version of Ghost Rider in a car. And it's kind of cool, but at the same time, Ghost Rider is pretty iconic. And so Johnny Blaze is once again the center of the character.
And motorcycles are still cool. So
and it's a cooler thing. I mean, like, even Danny Ketch, when I was growing up, Danny Ketch was, but again, eventually it goes back to Johnny Blaze because the original is still the one that works. And most of these cases, even when you can't get the series to kind of restart itself, like, I don't think anyone's brought back the original Nick Fury yet. Like, we've all kind of accepted the Sam Jackson Nick Fury, even in the mainline Marvelverse. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Rich Rider's back as Nova, but they still have I think it's Alexander running around. So I mean, like, sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. Connor Hawke was a great idea, but Oliver Queen is just way cooler. Sorry, Scott. He likes Connor Hawke.
Yeah. Wow.
Everyone got to have a fan of somebody. Like, yeah, I don't know about this one. I think it's really going to depend on how this miniseries works, because Marvel will shutter. If this doesn't work, they'll shutter this. There's a lot of times.
Exactly.
Janice Vell when that version of Captain Marvel didn't work.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could point to every character, and there's been somebody else who picked up the mantle at some point in the history, and some stick and some don't.
One. Yeah, I think every major Marvel character has gone through this at some point or another.
And DC.
And DC, yeah, absolutely, and DC too.
And then in DC, they just kind of like keep all the characters.
Well, Marvel's doing that, but Marvel's doing that too.
They're starting to do it. They're starting to do it with, like I said, there's Miles and Peter running around.
There's a lot of them. I wonder if a Crisis style event isn't coming from Marvel in the future, because their continuity is now 50 plus years old, and it's hard to penetrate. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
The new 62.
I doubt. I hope they don't do that.
Yeah, one would hope they would have learned from DC's mistakes.
Well,
they'll make their own completely new mistakes, but at least they'll not do what DC did.
What year was the first Fantastic Four?
61.
Okay, so the new 61. Yeah, it's because it's launched the Marvel comic universe. Yeah, I mean, I'll check it out when it comes out. I mean, I always like Danny Rand. I've always been a fan. Well, I've always liked Iron Fist. I've always been a fan of the Heroes for Hire books. So
yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, we're gonna jump to one of the inserted stories before we get to that rumor. And first, we'll go with JD. I had sent this just as you had mentioned something on Twitter about it. We got our first look at Book of Boba Fett coming this end of this year, right? Christmas.
Pretty dope.
Gonna be cool.
Yeah. This feels like, I know a lot of people. I know Mark Bernard was he vexing that he did not love The Mandalorian because he wanted something that was more in the Star Wars underbelly, and this seems to be more akin to what he was looking for The Mandalorian, where The Mandalorian was more lone wolf and cub, and I just don't think it's what he wanted. And he's not great about when shows don't give him what he wants. He kind of poo-poos it. But this seems to be like, it made me think of it when I saw this trailer. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what Mark Bernard was saying he wanted from Mandalorian. So
define Star Wars underbelly,
like the underworld, like the grossness, the crime lords, something that focuses on the underworld.
Okay, I guess so. That just seems like,
hey, one of the main characters in Star Wars was a smuggler. So,
but why do you think?
Because we thought the Mandalorian. I think he thought the Mandalorian would be more like Boba Fett, more of a bounty hunter than a hero.
No, I actually thought it was going to concentrate even more on the Mandalorians and like.
I think that is a safer assumption, but that's what he was talking about. That's what he thought it was going to be, which is what this show looks like. It's going to be right. Boba Fett dealing with the crime, the Hutt family crime, the Hutt crime family. Yeah, there you go.
Syndicate.
The Syndicate. There you go. So like the Dusty Sopranos, if you will.
The Godfather in space.
Godfather in sand.
Yeah.
Dusty Sopranos.
Nice.
You've been pretty meh on a lot of the Star Wars stuff.
No, this looks dope.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Dope. John said dope. God.
I'm street. Kiss the ring, dog.
Looks good. Dave, what do you think?
No, it does. Like, I don't know why the image of his helmet with the credits falling out of it.
Look cool, right?
Yeah, like I
like that.
There's definitely going to be some cool shots in this. Like I kind of like the idea of dealing with the crime family, but I don't want too much of those scenes of them like talking.
Well, yeah, I assume that's not going to be everything.
No, I mean we did get a whole movie of like trade talks. So
yeah, George Lucas is out of the picture. So.
And this is Boba Fett, and look at the situation he's in. It's like they're trying to push the idea that he wants to. They even said it in the was it the voice overlay, right? He said, "I want to rule by respect."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to rule through fear by killing people. So he's going to rule by respect, which is going to force him to kill people.
That's Michael Corleone.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what we're going to get a little bit on this one, is something more akin to that we haven't seen in Star Wars. I mean, it's basically strong. Like, we basically saw strong arming.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my prediction is going to be he's going to try to not be as ruthless as Boba Fett at first, but then realizes
Jabba, you mean?
That's what I meant. He's not going to be as ruthless as Jabba at first, but then realizes like
they're going to force his hand.
They're going to force his hand, and he's going to have to start killing people.
The drama. I'm okay with it. I think it's pretty cool. We haven't seen anything like this in Star Wars before, so that's intriguing. I'm curious to see how you do this in a Star Wars world.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I'm excited. It's frustrating that it took this long to get a trailer, but that's like par for this stuff now. You don't get the trailer too far out.
But we are also coming out of the pandemics, so the world is a little bit different than it was.
And it's been a while since we've had something on Disney Plus. Like, I'm kind of.
Did we just finish What If like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah. It's been a long time since anything.
You're like an addict, man. You're just scratching yourself.
No, I need my need my fix. Just
I mean, we're gonna have Book of Boba Fett and Hawkeye are like around the same time here, aren't we?
That's fine with me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, but we have to talk about both.
Oh,
So-
at least
We'll make it work.
the dry period's over.
It's a dry period. Oh my
We've
god.
come out the other side.
How are those veins there, John?
They're good.
Yeah.
Nice and vascular.
So yeah, no, I mean, I think we're all looking forward to it. Let's
How about this other trailer we had to watch before the show?
the trailer to a trailer.
I hate these things. There's nothing worse than the trailer to a trailer of a film that has
It wasn't even a trailer to a trailer. It was
behind the scenes of the trailer.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a teaser of the trailer, right?
It's a teaser of a
trailer. Not
Yes, so-
documentary style teaser of a trailer. God, I hate Sony.
So obviously we're talking about Morbius. So by the time you hear this, you'll have seen the Morbius trailer.
Yep.
We just have the teaser to the trailer. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it felt like a super hard sell for a character who shouldn't be a standalone character in a movie.
A character who can't keep his own comic title afloat is supposed to shepherd a tentpole movie franchise. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Like I don't get it. And then in his little Jared Leto's little cast a web comment at the end, to like the reference to Spider-Man without saying Spider-Man.
He's trying so hard.
Yeah, he really wants this to work. I don't think he's quite over the Joker. The fact that everybody shit on his Joker. So like he's trying to make this work. And I don't know. What we saw, I've seen vampire movies, and this one doesn't seem, I don't know.
The vampire movies have gone out of vogue lately.
Well, they have, but I mean, like at the same time, they could always come back in with one good one.
And not only that,
but right now, sorry, Dave. Just like right now, the biggest vampire thing is What We Do in the Shadows. That it's not exactly.
No, but at the same time, if something good comes out, that there could be another one. Like things could come back in, and I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is this doesn't look like it's gonna be a thing. I think Blade's coming out soon. Do we have any doubt that that's not going to be awesome?
But that's being done by Marvel.
I know, that's the thing.
And that was going to say, like, how do you make Morbius work on his own?
Make him the villain in a movie. That's what you do.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to try to make him a dark hero of some kind. So who's he going to go up against? What's his foil? Exactly. Like, no, it works better if you have him against a hero and you try to play off this like dark, scary vampire against the hero.
Have him go against Nightwolf.
Do you know? That's actually not a bad idea. Werewolf by Night, you mean? That's actually
Werewolf by Night. Yeah.
Do you know who? You guys have all seen the Blade movies, right? The original Blade movie.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Blade. We're all in agreement. Blade 2 is a pretty awesome movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was.
In the original draft of the script, the villain is Morbius. That's who Guillermo del Toro wanted for that. And then so the rights things would work because New Line had Blade and Morbius was part of the Spider-Man package over at Columbia at the time.
Yes.
And so they weren't going to make him. So they wound up doing the hybrid vamp thing, which was pretty good. They had to play with it a little bit. But yeah, when you watch that movie, it makes sense of why they would feel that way about a Morbius, like a man-made vampire instead of a natural vampire.
Yes. And that's another thing too. Like, it's
the answer is Blade. That's what the villain should be. It should be Blade, but it can't be.
And it's funny how like you said that too, because I always thought that was weird too. Like, we all know it's Sony, so why do they show the Columbia?
Because there's a reason, because they bought Columbia, right? That's a time-honored film thing, Columbia Pictures, right? They don't want to just be Sony. Like, they like being Sony, they like slapping Sony and everything, but there's still a crude interest and nostalgia for the old film studios. Hell, I'm surprised no one's tried to restart RKO, to be quite honest with you. Like
RKO or Screen Gems. Is Screen Gems still around?
I'm not sure about Screen Gems. Screen Gems is a big thing for a while. Or United Artists.
How about Orion?
Orion is not a thing anymore. Or like MGM. MGM is another one, right?
No, but like, how come no one's tried to reboot Orion?
Because Orion movies were not good,
with
the exception of RoboCop and Total Recall.
I was gonna say, wait a minute, had a couple.
Name another one. It's like Canon. Remember how great Canon movies were?
Oh, come on, Superman 4, Quest for Peace,
and you're burying yourself. So,
that might be the worst superhero movie of all time.
Which is funny because
with
I'm about to say a franchise that had like possibly the greatest superhero movie of all time.
That's why. There's been worse movies made, but because of the dramatic fall, it really stands out. We should review that some week on the show when there's a slow week.
Yes, and is Nuclear Man supposed to be a take on
Hyperion?
No.
Well,
I can't remember. I heard somewhere before there was they wanted a different villain and they couldn't get them, so it ended up being Nuclear Man, and I can't remember.
They made their own. I could see that. The first Nuclear. If you see the footage of the first.
Oh, Bizarro. That's what it was.
Bizarro is supposed to be Superman 3 because remember he has the fight with the other Superman. Initially, that was Bizarro.
The chain smoking Superman.
Initially, yes, that's weird. That's weird too. Initially, that movie's supposed to be Brainiac and Bizarro, and we get what we got. Which is why at the end of the movie, that woman gets like absorbed by the computer thing.
Yes, and looks like a.
Which is, by the way, horrifying.
It was
held up.
Yeah.
It's still horror. It's still pretty creepy.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna have to do Superman 3. I mean 4.
Hey, do both. I haven't seen 3 in decades, so.
Yes, just make Superman's costume a little dirty, and then
give him some grays.
Exactly.
And have him angry all the time.
That's all it takes.
For all your emo Batman shit. That's what this was. That was emo Superman in the early 80s. So in other words, what we're trying to say really is we have no interest in this Morbius.
Exactly. We'd rather talk about Superman 3 and 4.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking about. Like, how did we get here? Oh yeah, Morbius.
Than to talk about Morbius.
Well, let's talk about World War Hulk then.
Do you think this is any reality to this rumor?
So that's why I brought it up, because this is a rumor that started, and it's a few outlets have picked it up, but none of the major ones yet. So it keeps it still in the rumor category. But there's people talking about like, well, this is what they could do with World War Hulk, and this is what they could do. But like, did they miss the boat? Is it too late to try to do World War Hulk? Yeah,
I think so.
But they already kind of did, right? That was
they did Planet
Ragnarok.
Hulk. They did Planet Hulk. World War Hulk is a story where he comes back. And I'll be honest with you, World War Hulk is not as fondly remembered. Like people say because it sounds cool. The actual World War Hulk book is not as good as it's not. I mean, like it's just like
the premise is cool. Like he gets back to Earth and he's pissed that they sent him away.
Yeah, but then you got to stretch it into 6 issues and crossovers, and it's like the idea. And I've read World War Hulk, that's why I can say this. The idea is not strong enough. Could they make it work? Sure, but they can't, right? Because they still can't do individual Hulk movies.
No,
that's part of the thing is they're
with Universal.
If they're talking about it, maybe they regain the rights from Universal.
That's possible. I don't want to see it. I think there's better Hulk stories.
I believe I heard something before that. Yeah, they have worked out a deal with Universal, but yeah,
it would take a crowbar and a lot of creative writing to shoehorn World War Hulk into the current MCU timeline, though.
It would, because we just had a Hulk that we have the Professor Hulk right now, right? Like we have our early 90s Hulk, basically.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi after credits scene.
I haven't seen Shang-Chi yet. What happens in that?
Oh.
I'm waiting for it to get to Marvel, to our Disney Plus.
Okay. Well, in the after credits scene, the spoiler.
Go ahead.
He goes.
At this point, it's my fault. So.
God, why can't I think of his name? The other guy, Wong, brings Shang-Chi and Aquafina. I can't think of the character's name. Back into the Sanctum Sanctorum.
The water?
No, the actress. She plays the like love interest in Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Yeah, Aquafina.
Her name is actually Aquafina?
No, but that's what she goes by. She was an internet rapper or whatever, and then
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Everybody calls her Aquafina.
Everyone calls her Aquafina.
Now I'm out of the loop, but continue.
So brings him back to the Sanctum, and they're talking about the rings, and like because they detected some kind of energy from it, and in there talking with them via those space phones is Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner.
Not Professor Hulk.
Not Professor Hulk. Bruce Banner.
So we could have the Rage Hulk back, which makes sense. He was but how? Because he was still Hulk at the end of the end game.
Right, and there's no right, and they don't. It's just there. They don't explain it. They don't do nothing. It's just.
Well, the other rumor about that is that they're playing it that Bruce Banner realized that the longer he was Professor Hulk, that he realized that the end result of that would be the Maestro.
That's also now there's your story. Yes, now that's what they should do. Oh, a future imperfect.
Yeah,
that's the Hulk story. If they're going to make a Hulk movie, that's what we need. The Maestro. Big fan of that idea.
Because they never showed what Bruce Banner's vision was when when Scarlet Witch hit him with the mojo in
it was a good
back
point.
then.
That's
so
true.
it might have been he saw himself as Maestro, and then things happened. He became Professor Hulk, and then he realized that he was repressing the Hulk's rage in order to obtain that form, and that things were going to head that way.
Because that's what the story was with the Professor. Eventually, he pushes on and becomes the Maestro.
Yeah.
I hope what you say comes happening, because that's a much more interesting story than World War Hulk. That's just punching, and that's all the superheroes versus Hulk, and we don't have a Sentry in this universe that can go toe to toe with the Hulk. Nor should we, by the way. Please don't give us a Sentry.
Plus, we don't have a Tony with Hulkbuster armor anymore. We don't have.
Yeah, but we do have a Captain Marvel. I mean,
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, we got a Hulk Iron Man fight in Age of Ultron, so it's like, yeah.
I feel like we've been here. I feel like the moment has passed, and I don't think that story is good enough to revisit anyway. So, me.
Right. Yeah. And we didn't build toward it either. Like, I don't know how you make it work at this point. It really would be shoehorning it in. So.
And you're right. What was it? Sentry would be. It's not good enough to be in the MCU. The storyline.
The original Sentry story is really fun and interesting, but much as I like Bendis, by the time he reintroduced the character, it was just damaged Superman, and I feel like we've seen enough of that.
Yeah.
True. I mean, I've got you guys every week. It's enough damaged men I need.
They were calling me damaged Superman. I was like, thanks. I'll take that in stride.
Yeah. All right. So, we'll turn it over to you guys. Would you have any interest in a World War Hulk? And how would they make it work? That's what I want to know. How would they make World War Hulk work in the MCU?
That's just it. I can't think of a reason of any way to, like I said, it'd take a crowbar and a shoehorn to get it in there, and a lot of playing fast and loose with the current timeline in order to make it work.
When I said turn it over to you, I was talking to the audience, not you.
Well, I'm gonna play the audience now and say, yeah, I don't think so. But
I'm sure someone's gonna have an answer. Maybe Don, maybe Ray from the Gorilla Brain podcast. One of them's gonna chime in with something stupid. All right. On that note,
I wait to see what they say.
We'll take our second and final commercial break and come back with our main topic that we've been promising for 3 weeks now.
A Halloween show in November.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. Yes, we're here to talk a little spooky, ooky Halloween turkey
in November. Yeah, it's a spooky turkey, the fear turkey. And we're gonna base the fear turkey.
So Lego Star
Blood.
At the beginning of last month on Disney Plus, we got Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales, which is like an anthology of scary stories for the Halloween time.
Sure they are.
And just gonna real quick talk about it. I'm sure no one cares anymore, so
we'll make it quick.
So what did you guys think? We'll start with JD because
anytime you're going to parody the Lost Boys, I'm in,
yeah.
And I love it. And you do the shirtless sax guy, who in the comic continuity actually himself was a vampire hunter. I'm in.
Yeah, I loved when the shirtless sex guy showed up. I'm like, oh, they're going for it. They're like,
yes. If you're gonna go, and they went. So I'm good.
And then what was the second parody? I wasn't sure what that was, or if it was even a parody. It was the lightsaber thing with Darth Maul.
Yeah, I don't know that was a parody per se, but
they were telling the story of that ancient Sith lightsaber and how Darth Maul tried to get it for the Emperor.
That one was necessarily I'm looking it up right now, but it didn't ring a bell. If it was
that was the only time we saw Darth Maul fight. Was it Sidious? No, what's the
General Grievous?
General Grievous, right? That's the first time we've seen them together, and yeah, it worked about the way I thought it would.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was weird. And then the final parody. Oh God, what was it? You guys don't remember, do you?
No, it's like I see. That's the thing.
We watched this a month ago, and I'm trying to remember what all happened. I'm looking at the Wikipedia.com to try to remember. Was it the Wookiee's Paw?
The monkey's paw.
The Wookiee's Paw.
Yeah, it was fun. That was fun based just on the name alone.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
I'll be honest.
that completely rewrote all of the timeline, which was really funny to watch.
It was. I thought John would take interest with that one because they're literally rewriting continuity in front of us. It's fun, especially in like a Simpsons Halloween type of way of looking at it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of delivering it all within a story of them turning Darth Vader's castle into a tourist trap.
Tourist trap. That's fun.
Yes.
I think they played a little too seriously at points, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was kind of all over the place.
It is tonally. It really bounced around because like you got the Lost Boy is clearly the Lost Boys, and then they do the Wookiees pop, but there's other things like they're actually fighting to save things, and it's like like it seems like it couldn't decide whether it wanted to be parody or whether it wanted to be a straight up story, so it kind of stuck somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's why like the third story doesn't feel, it's not a parody of something, it's just an actual story that kind of is a Star Wars story.
Yeah, and it doesn't fit in the context of it. So,
and it was made with us in mind, but I don't know. It felt, you know what? It felt like it was made for a brain dead version of me.
Yeah, fair.
So it was made for you.
Shut up. I handed that one to you. You took it, and that's fine. But yeah, no, I mean, like, it's not Teen Titans Go, but it's not.
No, it's definitely not Teen Titans Go, because Teen Titans Go would have gone all the way in being parody.
Right.
Yeah. It's like it can't. Okay, yeah, that's a great thing. It can't decide if it wants to be Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go.
Right. Yes.
So it's like
good one.
It's like stuck in the middle between them, which leaves you kind of confused and like, am I supposed to laugh here? Am I supposed to feel profound? Like, now it kind of misses the mark.
Now, if you're not an adult Star Wars fan who tries to overanalyze everything from Star Wars, then you might enjoy it. Then kids might enjoy it.
Andy didn't love it.
Really?
I was gonna say, did Andy like it? So okay,
he watched it with me. He thought it was okay. He's never asked to watch it again. And this is a kid that's made me play, the Headless Horseman every day for the last 3 weeks.
No, kids that like something would, that's a good test.
But that's the other thing too. Like, he doesn't get that they're parodying the Lost Boys or
not yet
the Twilight Zone.
Mom won't let me. Mom won't let me inform him that those are parodies of other things that I could show him. No, but it didn't land with him,
And that should be your core audience.
It should, because he loves the Lego shows, right? Usually when there's a Lego something, like he likes the other Lego Star Wars stuff, right? He's got Lego Star Wars books. He loves Lego like Marvel stuff. Like he likes Lego Batman stuff. Like he's entertained by it. But this one, it didn't work for him.
Yeah. Oh, and even kids can even kids will recognize when something doesn't even know what its own tone should be.
Mm-hmm. Because they won't tell you this is bad. They just will be like, eh.
Yeah,
exactly. That is 100% right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like, and again, it's why it's on Disney Plus, right? Like, no one's going to run out and buy this on DVD. No one was going to run out and see this in the theater. But
usually the quality of the Star Wars stuff has been so high of late, my expectations were higher than they should have been.
Well,
apparently
it's really skewed it. So like, anything that falls short of awesome gets ranked on pretty hard, but which makes it harder for them, I'm sure. But
at the same time, it's almost like, they also didn't quite stick the landing with the Visions show, We didn't love that one. We liked it, but
I liked it better than this, though.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, if it was just the Lost Boys one, I'd be like, this is great, and would have never thought a bad thing about it.
The director was Ken Cunningham, and the writer was David Shane.
Yeah, that's like
it might have worked better if they had just done the Lost Boys parody and the Monkey Balls parody,
because again, that one doesn't fit,
right?
Yeah,
and you really don't need the other story around it either. Like, it's funny, but
David Shane has done a lot of Lego stuff: Lego Jurassic World, Lego Star Wars All Stars, Lego Jurassic World again, Lego Star Wars Freemaker Adventures, Ninjago, Stinky and Dirty Show. I have no idea what that, but and Ken Cunningham is another all Lego guy.
Huh.
Although he did a Barbie and her sisters in a puppy chase video. But Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, Lego Marvel, Lego Jurassic Park. Looks like him and Shane have worked together. So
I'd be curious. people listening, if you have kids, maybe say between the ages of 5 and 10, did they like it? Didn't they like it? Because I really feel like that should be the core audience for this stuff.
It might keep them quiet once, but you're not going to get more than one run out of it.
No, I agree. Like I said, he has not expressed interest in watching again. And like I said, every day on the way to school, we have to do the end of the Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman.
Well, there you go.
Fair enough.
Loves that one.
That explains it all. You know what? Before we close this out, though, I have a question, and it kind of goes along the lines of we expectations, right? As we're all aware that Eternals is coming out very shortly, and
I'm seeing it next Saturday,
and there are already early reviews for it, and apparently there are some mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews of what?
Eternals. There's actually
I've seen that.
There's actually some really bad reviews, and I mean, there are some that are so bad where it's like, oh, is this the end of Marvel? And it's like, it's one movie, dude. But here's my question, right? So, and it's funny because my date on Saturday when we saw Venom, there was an Eternals trailer, and she's like, I heard it's bad. Do you want to go see it? and we were talking about this, and my point.
That's a keeper, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say that is. What, the Room? Oh, I have to go see that.
Oh, this sucks ass. Let's go.
But
we'll get the extra large popcorn with that one.
my point was expectations. Like, we've come to expect a Marvel formula, and if this movie deviates from that formula, people are automatically like, it's no good. And it's like, is that because you had an expectation for it to?
Is it
that'd be a shame, though.
But is it the formula that gets deviated from, or is it because they deviate, which we don't know yet, we haven't seen it? Is it because they deviate from the formula, or is it because they just didn't stick the landing? And again, no one has been like, from the moment this movie got announced, people were giving it the stink eye.
Yes.
Right?
Like they did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer blew everyone away.
Yeah.
This trailer did not.
Right. Yes, and now it's getting bad reviews. It's gonna, yeah.
I think, like we talked about, like the Guardians trailer told you the movie in 2 minutes. The Eternals trailer did not tell us the movie.
No,
it was like, look at this.
Well, the first trailer was horrible. The second trailer was okay.
It was okay, and then we still don't really know the story. This has been a hard one for them, and I think they kind of overthought this one. I think they need to leave the later era Kirby creations alone.
But the thing is, like, even if this isn't that great, it's still better than 90% of everything out there.
We don't know that.
Well, it's not going to.
The Rotten Tomatoes scores in the 50s, man. I'm not a Rotten Tomatoes guy, but the Marvel stuff tends to go a lot higher than that.
With the critics, I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be the Inhumans, but
that also wasn't a movie. That was just a made-for-TV piece of shit.
It was originally supposed to be a movie, though.
It was, but I mean, like, that was Marvel trying to pretend like the X-Men aren't really a thing. We'll just replace the X-Men. That was Ike. We'll just replace. Well, you take your X-Men. I'll have my own X-Men.
Well, and I think that's
Blackjack.
Right. That's what they did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had to play the Inhumans card.
I think that's part of the problem too. Is that
nobody cares.
Is that at this point, I don't know if you can say scraping the bottom of the barrel, but like they're going to start introducing more and more characters that aren't as mainstream now that we've already gotten all the big ones.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's part of the problem too. You walk in and it's like, I have no idea who any of these characters are.
Yeah, but again, they've stuck the landing before in these situations because nobody knew who Ant-Man was. They stuck the landing with Ant-Man. Nobody knew who Star-Lord or Rocket Raccoon were, and they stuck the landing. So they're a little confident. Same with Captain Marvel. And as debatable as that one was, it made money. They stuck the landing. Like
a plant that only knows one phrase, "I am Groot," is like one of the biggest. Yeah.
And the thing is, Chloe Zhang is supposed to be and she's a good filmmaker, but every film, great, like I said, we talked about 1941 earlier. Every filmmaker has something that just doesn't stick. Dude, Patty Jenkins, Wonder Woman 1 is really good. Wonder Woman 2 is very meh. This happens.
There's only going to be one way to settle this. We're going to have to go see it.
Of course,
for the podcast.
That's what we do on this show.
Yes, it was all a segue to say, hey, I think we're going to go see this.
I just want to say, like, we got to be careful. Like, if again, like the standard Marvel, 3-act play. They're all quadrinary. If this is different, I don't want to poo-poo it just because it tried to be more auteur than it is.
I disagree. If it doesn't follow a 3-act structure of a hero's journey, it's a failure, because the vast majority of Western fiction follows that.
Right. I mean, I get that point, but if it's not like the Marvel formula, right?
I'm fine with if it doesn't follow the Marvel formula. Just give me a good movie with some entertaining characters. I'm not seeing that so far.
Okay.
Right. I mean, like, the thing is, I'm going to try to go in with, I have like no expectations.
Me neither. I'm expecting it not to be good. So hopefully I'm surprised.
Right. Yeah. All right. All that to say, maybe watch Lego.
We'll see.
Terrifying Tales next Halloween. All right. Let's wrap this puppy up. We got any recommendations for our audience out there? John, you got anything this week?
The Injustice, was it Justice League Injustice or Injustice, whatever, not great.
Well, then you don't recommend it. It's an anti-recommendation.
I
rescind my recommendation.
I am anti-recommending because it missed the entire point of the actual Injustice storyline. But okay, so that out of the way. I mean, we may review that later, but let's see. I just discovered a new anime. Actually, I discovered a new anime that's been out for 3 years now called Fruits Basket. And I'd always passed it by because I thought it was another Japanese cooking anime. And turns out it's not. Turns out it's a really poignant and very touching story about very, very horrible people. So yeah.
It's about us?
No, not that horrible.
Okay.
No, it's so Fruits Basket. Sorry, JD. Like the title's just like on the scale.
I'm unimpressed on this one, but
yeah, I know.
I'll let it slide.
They can't all be my teenage tentacle daughter or whatever.
There's a new one called Jobless Reincarnation.
Look, that's my life.
Yeah, I was about to say, hold on. Wait a minute.
So that's it for me.
Okay. JD.
I just finished The Dead Zone. I finished the Stephen King novel. I'm going back and reading all the old King because it occurred to me I had read nothing of his stuff pre-2000. So I've been collecting a lot of his older works. I immediately finished the book and I rented the movie. It's a great world we live in where I could just click the button and just do that.
Yeah.
You didn't read any of his stuff pre-2000?
No, I've never read any of his pre-2000 stuff.
So you've never read like Christine, Cujo,
nope.
The Shining?
Seen the movies. Never read the books. I just saw the movies and absorbed them through cultural osmosis. I never actually read them until now. So I'm going back and I'm collecting the older ones. I'm going to do The Shining next. First, I'm going to try Dean Koontz thing. But yeah, I loved this story. I thought there were some flaws in the book, and it was fascinating to see how the movie tackled. The movie, I thought, tied up some of the narrative issues I had, but I also thought the movie moved at too breakneck a speed because it's an hour 40 minutes. And there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the books. It's almost moving too fast. But I dug it. I thought it was awesome. And there's a lot of changes, especially in the third act, that get made. But for just like a comparison thing, it's really cool. And it's also kind of funny too, because in the book he's supposed to be 20 when this accident, 23, he's a kid when this accident happens, and you follow him for like 10 years afterwards. So he gets to the big moment. Right. And then it's Christopher Walken's like 40 at the very beginning of the movie. But he's Christopher Walken, and his delivery is so fantastic in this. Like, so I highly recommend both the movie and the book. In fact, I recommend you try to do both because they both operate on very different levels.
Cool. All right.
That's usual for Stephen King stuff.
It is because, like, he, especially some of his younger stuff, like I find Cocaine Stephen King to be less focused for some reason.
Well, I wonder why.
Yes, he tends to go off in tangents sometimes, and his ability to go off a tangent can make really great stuff, like in the Dark Tower. Sometimes his tangents are just fantastic. Other times, like he'll tangent stuff, like because again, he doesn't plot; he just writes, and the book ends. And sometimes that works, and sometimes you're left scratching your head, like, well, that's kind of weird. But I liked where this story went. Like, I like Dead Zone a lot, and I don't think I'm reading again because I don't read books twice. I can just read another book.
Exactly.
I'd much rather just read another book. But I liked the movie. I would like to see a modern I'd like to see someone do this today. Now that we let stories breathe a little bit, because those three acts could make a miniseries. So I would love to see a longer, more beat out version of the Dead Zone.
Cool. All right. Well, I would recommend that you go to superheroespeak.com, where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page. Comic book reviews by our good friend D Square. And, you know, I talked about Venom at the beginning of the show. I really don't have anything else. So I'm just going to say I recommend that you go see The Eternals, because that is what we will be talking about
when is it
next week.
Does it come out this week?
It comes out this week.
I think it comes out Wednesday, maybe? I don't know.
I gotta go to the movies this week. God damn it.
Yes, you can be as excited as JD when we talk about this show, movie next week.
I just don't want to go to the theater. Fine.
Yeah.
On that note, as always, thanks for listening. Don't let your cake come. Oh my God. Take two. Thanks for listening. And don't let your... Oh my God. No, stop.
Daylight come and we
go home.
Thanks for hanging out, and don't let your cape get caught the door. Have a good week.
2 and 3 and punch.
Daylight come and they want to go home.